Okay, I'm just going to show you similar turban style to how I normally wear it. This is kind of a daily style. I'll show you two variations on it. I did one with a jersey scarf earlier. I'm going to use two cotton scarves now. The first one I'm going to use is just a very thin cotton scarf. This one is standard size, 180 centimetres along the length and 80 centimetres along the width. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to do my asymmetric style and just show you how I wrap to get neck coverage, because I don't always wear these underscarves. A lot of the time I will just have like a tube cap that just kind of brings most of the hair, it kind of keeps the hair back and sort of tidy, but it doesn't actually cover the neck. So I tend to do an asymmetrical kind of turban style, because then it gives me a long end that I can then wrap around the neck without making it too tight. So what I'm going to do, I've got a long end here and a short end there. I'm going to start off at the shorter end and just take that over the head, bring that round to the front, and I'm going to tie a single knot with the short end. Now, because this is quite a thin scarf, I might actually just do a double knot with the thin end, and then I'll tuck the rest of that in at the end. So now I've got this long end just loose here. I'm just going to lightly twist it. I don't want it to be too twisted like a rope. I just want it, because I want it to be able to kind of fall flattish. I'm just twisting it lightly just so that it kind of holds its shape when you wrap. And then what I'm going to do now, because I want to get the neck coverage, if you don't need neck coverage, you basically just take that over the top and then you can tuck those together and then basically tuck that in along there and you're done. But because I want the extra neck coverage, I'm going to leave that bit, I'll tuck that bit in afterwards. I've got this length here, so I'm just going to roughly put it into kind of half or quarters and then just loosely wrap it round the neck and then bring it round to the front and just tuck that in at the front. So that way, then I can just loosen this. That way I've got my head covered and my neck covered. And then this little tail end here, this shorter end, I'm just going to take this and just tuck it under there until you can't see either the end or the tag. I should get better at cutting my tags off, but I'm really rubbish about that. But there we go. So this is kind of my normal everyday hijab style if I'm wearing like a round neck top or something where I need my neck covered. I'm not wearing a polo neck. So this is basically, I'll just show you how it looks all the way around. But then if you're wearing it turban style, if you wanted full turban style, then it would just be over like that. Run your thumb so you can kind of catch it through there, and then just pull that through, go further down, pull that through, and just keep pulling it through until you've tucked it all in. And then you just want to tidy up any of these loose ends by making sure they're tucked in. Now you can pin them if you want to make it super neat, but on an everyday basis I don't bother pinning because it means that I can change the style later in the day without worrying about pins. So this is pretty much how it looks. Now this will work just as well with a plain scarf, but I kind of like the two-tone ones because it just adds a little bit of dimension. If you are using a plain scarf, I'm going to show you very shortly. This scarf is actually one from my old jewellery company that I used to have. So I used to sell jewellery and scarves, so I've got quite a lot of the sample stock. I've got quite a lot of it, and this is kind of one of my favourite styles because on one side it's kind of glittery and the other side it's more plain, so you can kind of glam it up if you want to or keep it subtle. You don't have to get specific hijabs to do it. This is just a plain scarf from H&M or Primark, I can't remember. The tag says Primark, so this one probably cost about £3 or £4. Again, it's standard size. This is 180 along the length and about 80 or 90 on the width. This is a bit longer, so this one you can actually you can kind of halve it, and it'll still be thick enough because this one is a little bit wider. I don't think it's quite a metre, but it's about 90 centimetres, so it's definitely long enough, kind of wide enough to halve. So doing the asymmetric style again, I'm going to take the shorter end, just lay it flat over the head, bring it round the back, actually, there we go, bring it round the back, and then bring the short end to the front, and you've still got enough of the short end to do quite a nice little knot. Now I'm going to tuck that in afterwards. Now I'm going to take this part here, twist it lightly just because it kind of holds it just holds a bit more without the pins if you twist it a little. And then you can either bring that round and tuck that in, but I'm going to use it for neck coverage. So I'm then just going to loosely wrap that round, and I don't like things feeling too tight on my head or too tight on my neck. Now the advantage of knotting it up here rather than just wrapping it is it kind of fastens it and holds it in place without you having to do it too tightly. And then I'm just going to take this end and just lightly tuck that in there, and it's quite a loose style. It's all covered, but it's quite a loose style. Now with this end, a couple of things you can do. You can, if I'm not pinning, I will just loop it through like that until you can't see it. Or if you want, if you don't want it to be quite as asymmetrical, or don't want so much bulk along here, what you can do with this end is fan it out and just pull it over the hair and then tuck it underneath that part that you just wrapped round. So then you don't get too much bulk on the side, but it's still nice and still kind of nice and flat and neat. So then this is how it would look all the way around. And that's my easy everyday turban, get my words mixed up, turban hijab tutorial with the added neck coverage. Let me know if there's any other styles you've seen or you want to try out, or any materials of scarves you've got and you think, how am I going to do this, it's too slippery. You know, give me a shout and I will show you some tips and tricks.